Today we're going to be building the DDR3-RC knife kit with pre-machined walnut scales. Alright, as we open the box here, the first thing you'll note is that we have the option of 2 blades. You can choose whichever blade that you prefer. We also have the liners. We have all of other pieces that we've taken out. We have the bolsters, we have our screws, washers, pivot. Alright, so now we've got everything opened up. We can start our assembly. So what we've done here is we've just laid our bolster on the outside of the liner, and then we're putting our back spacers in the general area that they're going to go, along with our pivot. Of course, you can organize any way that you like. As you can see, we have different length screws here. The longer screws are going to be for your back spacers and for your handles, and the slightly shorter screws are going to be to screw your bolsters on. And all you need for this part is Torx drivers. If you don't have one, this is available at our website, knifekits.com. Don't torque down on these too tight. Kind of 2-finger tightening is just fine, otherwise you run the risk of stripping screws. So the reason we're putting the bolsters on now is because we need to be able to fit up our handle scales so that we can mark them for drilling. So you need to decide which side of the handle scale that you want to face out. But when you do that, you're then going to put your handle scale for marking purposes on the opposite liner. So just so that this makes sense, we're marking right where we've got our handle scale on our liner. We're marking the inside of the handle scale if the handle scale were going on that liner. But this handle scale is going to be used on the other liner. The hole spacing is the same. And the reason that we have to put the outside of the scale on the inside, as it were, is because we're going to use a step drill to drill the holes in these, so that way the head of the screw sits down into your handle scale. Once you mark both sets of handle scales, you'll go ahead and you will drill your holes with the proper step drill. Okay, so now we've taken our bolsters back off of our liners because we can't assemble the rest of the knife kit while the bolsters are on. And we are going to go ahead and put our pivot in, and note that we're putting it in on the side where the liner lock is. So as this is laying, you're looking down at it to make sure that you're not putting it together backwards. The lock on the liner should be slightly tilted up at this point. So we've also put our blade stop on, and now we are setting our back spacers onto the liner. Then we'll simply set our blade on there. If you want, you can also wrap your blade with tape here, just to be a little bit more careful, these blades are sharp, help keep you from getting cut. To make sure that it's easier to remove the tape later though, make sure that you only keep it on the sharp edge of the blade. You want to make sure that once you put the knife together, you're not trying to dig tape out inside where you can't quite reach it. So here you should see the blade should be over the pivot. It should basically be locked into place from rotating by your liner lock and the blade stop. And then we'll put our other washer on. Now, of course, we have to put our back spacers back in. We did pick it up just so that we could make sure we got the blade on good. And then your other liner, you're simply going to lay right over the top. So this, you want to make sure that the hole lines up where your blade stop is, where your pivot is, and then you can go ahead and drop your screws into your back spacers and go ahead and start it in. Be very careful when you're doing this part. Again, they're very small screws, so be very careful not to cross thread them. And also, you don't have to go terribly tight. You just want to go snug. Just going to put our pivot screw into our pivot and tighten it down. And then go ahead and snug down the screws for your back spacers. Once you've gotten the screw for your pivot to the tension that you want it, we'll go ahead and put our bolsters back on here. And once we get our bolsters on, we'll go ahead and put our handle scales on. Now this entire first run that we're doing here, this is all what I would consider dry fitting. So although we are completing the kit, including we're going to go ahead and sand down and make sure the handles fit and everything, we're doing this prior to using Vibratite or a Loctite product to hold the screws in. The beauty of this is when we're sanding here, if we get a little aggressive and we mess up our handle material, we can go ahead and swap it out for another set of handle material and start over. So we are going to completely sand down, get our handles exactly the way that we want them on our liners here. And we're just starting with a pretty coarse sandpaper, working our way finer and finer, stopping to check frequently to make sure that you're getting the shape that you want. If you prefer a more squared off shape, that's fine. If you want a rounded shape, a palm swell, you can do all of those things. And then just polish it all out when you're done sanding it the way that you want. And then when you're done with all this, again, I recommend that you completely take it back apart. Get some ND Vibratite or Loctite, whichever you prefer. I do recommend using the type that will allow it to stay in place, but that you can take it apart in case you ever have to make any adjustments. I hope you've enjoyed this video on building the DDR3-RC. If you have, please take the time to like it and subscribe to our channel, and also click that notification button. That way you'll know when we have the next exciting new knife kit project. Also, if you decide to build this kit, we have here a list of everything that you need to build it. All you've got to do is go straight to the website knifekits.com and you can get all of the items that you need. And then when you're done, if you would, please take the time to send us pictures. We'd love to post this up on our social media and on our website. And if you don't feel like you're very good at taking pictures, that's okay too. You can just mail the completed kit back into us. We will take the pictures for you and we'll send it right back out to you. Again, thanks for watching.